All right, we're back. We're gonna do a Cali here. Got some rain, probably gonna move in, so it might make this shorter than what I had hoped, but knowing that's okay going into it, because I'll just plan on it being a little bit shorter session. But wanted to record because we haven't recorded for a while. Had some changes here internally with manpower, and we just haven't had a camera guy here. So I have been training, and we're coming off of a workshop this past weekend, and we got a lot accomplished on a lot of levels. And one of the things that I ran into with Cali this week that I really liked was she got out of control on me, and she ran off and worked over on the other side of the property and worked her way away from the pheasant pen. And I called her twice and she didn't respond. I was planting apple trees with my daughter. And so finally I just said, well, I'm not gonna call her back. I'm not gonna get upset with her. She kind of blew me off a little bit, but it was real intense, and her tail was real intense, and she was really working. And she tracked and tracked and tracked and tracked, and I just followed her and watched her. She tracked quite a ways, and I thought, it's getting to the point now, I could tell she was on a bird, and it was one of the hen pheasants that we had let go, and it had come back to the pen and was eating grain out of the side of it or whatever, but she tracked it off. And then when she got close, you could really see her body language intensify, but then she'd fall off of it, and you could see she had gotten off the track, and I wasn't sure she was going to flush it, especially based on how I'd seen her struggle with tracking in prior sessions. She really stuck with it, and all of a sudden, poof, that bird jumped up right in front of her nose and flew off real strong, and it was great to see. The thing I didn't like was then she chased, and I did not stop her in time. I didn't have a whistle, which probably would have helped, but I gave her a, hey, here! And she was gone, and she was gone for about 2 or 3 minutes. She seems probably longer than that, but really it wasn't when I think back on it. Giving chase to that bird. So could she have flushed it again? I don't know. It was out of sight, maybe. If she had, I wouldn't have been upset about it. What I liked about it was the idea of like a little bit, that was probably the most like enthusiasm I've seen from her as far as that energy to go get that bird. So it was real good. She flushed a few grouse at the workshop, got close to them and bumped them, so I actually think it was a flush. So it was real good. That was positive. Back here today, and the things that I've been working on come from the workshop. There was a few times where we struggled. Her lining wasn't the best. We ran some drills with some and the reality was we bit off too big from a challenge standpoint, we bit it off too big. We made it more challenging and it was part of, not intentional necessarily, but maybe a bit intentional, because one of the messages that we were trying to talk about at this Next Steps workshop is the next steps. And sometimes in order to figure out what your next steps are, you have to go to a point where you fail. It shouldn't be regular. It shouldn't be intentional all the time. But I do think there's this limit that you need to push the dog to figure out what's too much, and then start to figure out why is it too much, and then go start to fix what the problems are, so that the next time you get to that point, you find success, and then you go beyond it until you get to the point where you don't find success. So I just think that's a natural progression of movement forward. Move till you can't move anymore because you've gone too far, then figure out why, go back, fix it, prepare yourself better, and then move on again. So biting off smaller chunks would be the way to do it. Pasture, using the fence line to allow us to get an understanding of some squareness when we handle left or right. We're going to use it to be a barrier and push through. We're going to use it, the field crowns. It's, I can stand on one end of it and throw a dummy in the other corner. And first off, the corner alone helps funnel the dog to it. When you look at it, and it's a funnel to that point, which is where we're sending the dog, but it's not like it's a straight alley where what her issue is because we've used so many straight edges. A lot of times if I send her from that corner and I ask her to run to that corner, why go through the open abyss when I can go take the line? That's where I should go. So she almost fades and wants to take the line. So yesterday we tried it a little bit too big of a chunk, and that happened. So the fix to that was shorten up the distance. So today I won't take as big of a chunk. We made a few mistakes yesterday and had to correct them. I might actually do it again because one thing I said yesterday was, man, I wish we had a camera today, because I did think we learned some stuff. We made some mistakes and then we corrected and got fixes out of it. So those are all important. You're going to see some of that in some of the videos that we did of the workshops. Making mistakes and correcting them were some of the clearest moments of learning this weekend for other people's dogs and mine, and Cali here, who we're training. So heel. So we're going to start out, and I'm going to do stuff very similar to what we've done the last couple days here. I don't expect it to be perfect, but we'll see. And if it is real good, then we'll challenge her more. I don't think we're there yet. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to pitch a dummy to the corners. And like I said, using the fence to kind of act as a funnel, but at times use it as a straight edge. And what I like to do is, the other thing I get out of these is I get some good memory work. I get her to start putting some thought to keeping in mind where dummies have been thrown, and also where they get thrown. Like, some of these turn into blinds eventually, but they're memory blinds where she's running back to familiar areas. Maybe doesn't see a dummy fresh go into it, but she's picked them there before. So we use our corners that way. And it's real easy to do in this big rectangle field. Really like this field for training. So that one's gonna end up being a long memory. I'll leave that one for a while. We'll leave it alone, and we'll end up probably putting one in the opposite corner of it to work off of. So it'll act almost as a blind. This is another spot where the field crowns. I have to be careful, this grass is a little longer. And so when I send her along this fence, not only is it like a little hill there, but the grass gets longer. So even though I'm using bright white dummies, which you'll notice I'm using on purpose, even though we are, it's not always visual. Heel. Wind's picking up a little bit. Sit, watch. Other side of that fence, heel. And I'm going to establish that as a memory. We're going to pick that one up. So we've got a dummy there and a dummy there, relatively fresh in her mind. Cali, go back. We're going to run right through the line. Good girl. Hold. Good. Good. Did. Heel. Now I'm going to do the same thing. Right back out there. This time I'm going to stop her at the fence. See how she responds. If she were to get sticky and pop, I wouldn't handle her. I'd call her back and I'd resend her. I want her to do exactly what she did the last time. Go back. Get out. Good girl. Great decision. Good girl. Went to the left because she faced to the right. So opposite of what she thought. I don't know that she thought, but she just physically stopped facing that way, so I went the opposite way. Good girl. Hold. Did. Good girl. Good dog. Good dog. Heel. Looks like we're gonna get wet here, so I'm gonna wrap this up a little quicker. I mean, obviously this is just become a shortened session. To be honest with you, we're just gonna line out. So change the flans. Heel. Go back. I'll just let her pick them up and we'll be done. If you think you're worried about that, go ahead, cover it up. Okay, so we're gonna, because of the rain, we don't want the camera to get wet. So end the session. Pick the dummies. I'm just gonna center to pick, and we're out of here. So we'll build off of this. It's a nice little, really short session, success, and we'll put the camera away.